Whether you're joining us for the first time, joining us online or physically, or even if this is your first AFNOG session, I encourage you to engage actively, to ask questions, share experiences, and connect with fellow participants.
Welcome to the second day of this conference. So Swift Global was one of the first ISPs in Kenya, which I started in 1995. And when I launched that service at the Serena Hotel, 5 kilometers from here, the chief operating officer of Telkom Kenya was there, and he told me in question time that if I continued doing what I was doing, I would be in prison by the end of the week. In 1998, we got a sector policy, and in 1999, we got an Act of Parliament which liberalized the sector. Now that act was something of a Trojan horse. The real interest in that act was that the vested interests at the time wanted a share of the 2 mobile operators which were to be licensed.
When we first started the company, maybe as any other WISP or any other ISP, we started with 2 routers, 1 switch, and a bunch of access points that were MikroTik 19S, Manbox, and a bunch of LIG 5 radios. That's how we started back in 2016. After 11 years, as the technology has evolved, we are using now hybrid network between fiber and point-to-point, point-to-multipoint radio connectivity. With backhaul on both. The backhaul between our POPs, the way that we designed it is divided into backhaul via radio and backhaul via fiber for full redundancy. In case you have fiber cut somewhere, your POP will not be down.
We are an interconnection forum. That is why we have the Internet Exchange Point, and where we also participate in forums such as this, and we are acting as a host in this particular context because it is very important. We are an advocacy organization so that stakeholders can have their needs met, their requirements heard, and everybody comes to an agreement on what needs to be done. We are also a facilitator for training, both for information sharing and also knowledge disbursement.
Being at the Africa Internet Summit for the 2 days, I have been able to learn about having exposure to the evolving digital landscape across Africa. We have different countries that are attending, and everyone has valuable information to share in subjective to internet governance knowledge, understanding how policies, regulations, and internet governance shape Africa's digital future. I've been able to understand technical capacity building, learning about domain management, DNS security, cyber security.
The thing that stood out for me is about the pioneers who really founded the whole internet space in Kenya and in Nigeria. And of course, we talked about Alan Barrett, of course, and he's also the founder of the whole internet space in Africa. And I wish to send our condolences on behalf of Bulisha Fiber to him, to his family and friends.
This evening we got together to commemorate the really absolutely amazing life of Alan Barrett, who I think more than anybody has been the father of the internet for Africa, whose selfless contribution to this continent goes so often unsung.
In 1997, in Kuala Lumpur, he co-authored the historic proposal that led to the creation of AfriLink. He did not just draft the vision, he worked tirelessly to build it. He served on the steering committee, entrusted with turning that dream into reality.
With all this said, Alan, you will be missed by your wife, Kerry, by your family, by myself, who had the honor to call you friend. and by the community who will sorely miss your sage advice and honest, humble wisdom. Rest in peace, my friend, knowing that your work will stand as the rock upon which we all strive to build.
While I was visiting him at hospital, I asked him, if the worst happens, do you have any regrets? And he looked at me in earnest and he said, yes, I feel I haven't done enough for Afrinic. I haven't done enough for the internet. I can do more. On the last day, I was able to speak with him in person. He very gently asked me to leave the hospital a little bit earlier because he was tired and wanted to take a nap. I later found out he actually wanted to take an ICANN call, and I had expressly told him no work. He made it very clear, even when the doctors told him he needed to step back and take a break, that he simply would not do that. It was far more important that he continued the work for the community. Moving forward without him, I hope that every single person who knew him carries that kindness, that fairness, and that idealism that comes with striving towards a shared vision. And you hold that in your spirits and carry him with you. And when in doubt, simply ask, what would Alan do? Thank you.